Hey everyone, today we're going to take a good look at what size electric fireplace you'll need in your home, both to make sure it looks good where you want to put it and also to, keep the space. Because it's not really about the measurements as much. You can have a fireplace that technically fits into the wall unit, but if it looks too small under the TV or too tall for the ceiling height, it can throw off the entire room. Same goes for heat. If you get something underpowered, it might look great, but it's never going to give you that cozy, comfy feeling like you hoped. So in this video, we're going to make sure both sides of that sizing decision are squared away, from room dimensions and BTUs to mounting heights and clearance rules. I'll also show you one electric fireplace that I think really nails that mix of looking great and setting the vibe. So let's start off on the heating side of this equation. And to really get a grasp on this, first we gotta actually understand how electric fireplaces work, because unlike wood burning or gas units, electric models plug right into a standard 120 volt outlet. That means their total power output is gonna cap at around 1500 watts. Convert that over to BTUs, which is how we measure heat, and you land a hair over 5100. Not a surprise, that's just about the maximum for most units on the market. So how much space can that actually heat? Well, a good rule of thumb is 20 BTUs per square foot. If your home has a standard ceiling height of around 8 to 9 feet and decent insulation, that works out to around 250 square feet of effective coverage. But if you got those tall, vaunted ceilings or spacious open layouts, or you just live somewhere frigid, that number is gonna drop. The volume of air you're trying to heat increases, and with it, the number of BTUs you'll need to not just freeze. On the other hand, if you just want the fireplace to look good, and you've already got other ways to heat your place, then BTUs obviously don't matter as much. It'd be nice to have a little output so you can huddle around it with a cup of hot chocolate in the winter, but you're not expecting it to carry the whole room. So even before looking at fireplace options, just make sure you know what you'll be asking of it. Okay, now you don't need to be an architect or interior designer to make a fireplace fit. I sure can't design a room for the life of me, but there are some simple rules that you'll generally want to follow to make sure things look nice on the eyes. First and foremost, the 7 to 11 rule. Take the width of the wall in feet, right? Multiply that by 7 for the low end and 11 for the high end to get a solid range in inches for how wide the fireplace should be. So for example, a 14-foot wall will put you in the 98 to 154 inch range. And since fireplaces are measured by screen width, not total install, that usually means a 52 to 60 inch fireplace will look about right. Now let's look at how tall the unit should be, because if you got the standard 8-foot ceiling, something in the 24 to 36 inch range tends to look the most balanced. Try more like 42 to 48 inches for 10-foot ceilings, and even higher if you got a 12-foot wall to fill. Then as far as mounting it, I would recommend raising the bottom of the fireplace to about 36 to 42 inches off the floor, so the flame will be right about eye level when you're chilling on the couch. It's a small thing, but it makes the whole setup feel a lot more natural. Now, if you're looking to mount a TV above the fireplace, which is usually the plan, there are a few more sizing rules that can really make it look good. First up, width. So for a setup to jive together, the fireplace should either be the same width as your TV or max a foot wider. It'll feel proportional to one another, which is really big here, especially when you're building it into a proper medial wall. The other piece of the puzzle is clearance. Bare minimum, you should have 8 to 12 inches of space between the top of the unit and the bottom of your TV. But that's just for standard models that don't run crazy hot. If you're using something high output, so anything above 5000 BTUs, aim for more like 15 to 20 inches just to be safe. Not only to avoid lighting your TV on fire, but also to make sure the viewing angle just still feels comfortable. And this is actually where some of the best high-end units stand out, because a lot of fireplaces either look good or heat well, but it's hard to get both. In fact, that's something I ran into a lot when I was testing different models. There's either realistic flames with almost no heat output, or it'll warm you up, but look like you're sitting in front of a radiator. Totally fake, no vibes whatsoever. But the one that actually does both well is MagikFlame. And I mentioned it at the top, but I really like how real and comfy it looks while still heating up the room. I've seen a lot of flame loops and basic LED animations, and I gotta say, it wears on you after a while. This uses what's called hollow flame tech, which is basically a high-resolution video of real fire, and then that gets projected onto some real physical logs inside the unit. So you get this awesome depth to it. The shadows move around, the embers seem to glow. The flame feels alive, especially when you're looking at it from across the room. It's a really clean look. And if the classic fire effect isn't doing it for you, there's a good 30 different flame styles to choose from. There's nothing like a full-on bonfire in the middle of your living room to entertain the kids. And what's especially cool is the sound design. There's inbuilt stereo speakers that simulate the actual pops and crackles of a real fire. So even when the screen is turned off, you can still get that ambient, cozy atmosphere in the background. The whole thing just feels like it belongs in the room. Now, a lot of fireplaces just kind of blast dry heat straight at your face, basically like a space heater. It feels uncomfortable and you get that weird imbalance where your front is on fire, but your back is freezing. Not fun. But one of the reasons I like MagikFlame so much is that it uses infrared heating instead. It feels a lot more natural. It spreads itself out, right? It gradually heats up the air around. And it can put out a good 5200 BTUs, so plenty strong for even open layouts or huge rooms with high ceilings. And because the heater is built directly into the insert, you don't need to run extra ducts or vents. It's all self-contained. So one problem I have had with a lot of units I've tried in the past is that remotes just vanish. I don't know how. There's probably a dozen in between the cushions in my couch, or somewhere in Narnia. Either way, the fireplace basically becomes a black screen from then on out. With MagikFlame, there's an app that lets you control everything, which is super useful if it's like a frigid day coming home from work. The joy of coming into a warm house with the fire raging, it's hard to describe. You really got to experience that one for yourself. There's also a touchscreen on the actual unit that can do all the same stuff, switch flame styles, adjust the heat, turn the audio on and off. It's a solid backup. The hardware will hook into your Wi-Fi and can get updates over the air, so whenever new features come along, it'll get pushed automatically. Now, the model I tested was called the Trinity, which runs about $3,800, and that is definitely on the higher end, but between the size, the design, the output, and the build quality, I would really say that it's worth it. I checked it out, and there is financing if you need it, so you can stretch it out to up to 2 years. Makes it a lot more reasonable, which is good because you're gonna want to use this all the time. That feeling that there's a wood fire burning, it makes the house more alive. The sound, the heat, the visuals, it's one of the few electric fireplaces I've tested that really can change your home. In that respect, it's worth every penny. So I hope this video helped you figure out what size fireplace will fit in your space, both in terms of heat output and how it's going to look once it's installed. It's a little math, yeah, but once you get the numbers figured out, actually picking the right model gets a whole lot easier. If you like the idea of MagikFlame and you want to check out one of their fireplaces for yourself, I'll leave an affiliate link down in the description. It doesn't cost you anything extra, but we may earn a small commission if you use it. It really does help support the channel. Plus, we usually can get you some deals there that you won't find if you go directly to their website. Also, if you're interested in working with us or sponsoring a future video, just reach out using the email in the description below. If you got any questions at all, or you just want a second pair of eyes to run the numbers, feel free to message me down in the comments. This stuff can get a little complicated, so I try to answer as many as I can. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.